What's up, guys? You're watching 2 Big Geek. I'm TJ, your host, back with you today with another review of the New 52, Week 7. First of all, to you guys who have subscribed to my channel, I want to say thank you. I do appreciate that. I'm pretty new to this video thing, and it really means a lot to know that at least somebody out there is watching them, so thanks. So the honest truth is that the titles I picked for this week were pretty mediocre across the board. Sad to say it. I know I'm supposed to keep stringing you guys along to watch the whole video, and I hope you stay tuned in to find out why I think that. But just flat out, if you just want to know, none of these titles really stood out above the others. There's one that's, maybe a little better than the rest. But the good news is, in some cases, mediocre is kind of an improvement. Case in point, Grifter number 2. My main complaint with Grifter number 1 was it didn't live up to that promise of action that they gave us with the cover and with the solicitation that DC put out. And Grifter number 2 has a little bit more action, but unfortunately it still doesn't move the story forward very much. There are certain things I like about Grifter. He doesn't seem to be the classic anti-hero type where he's just so introverted. So I like that, but there's just not too much to it. There's action, but it's kind of generic. This issue does plant some seeds for further on in the arc, and it kind of clears up whether or not this is all in Grifter's head or not. I won't tell you which, but you do find out in this issue. What I thought was weird about this issue is that it ends on the exact same note as the first issue. They teased something that was going to happen. It doesn't happen in issue number 2. And then they're saying it's going to happen in issue number 3. So while Grifter number 2 is a slight improvement, the story's really taking too long to settle in for me, and I may just end up dropping this title. So moving on to Demon Knights number 2, I really like the look of this book, and I like where they're trying to go with it, but unfortunately it's kind of unfocused. Like I mentioned in my review of issue number 1, it looks like they're kind of going for a team feel to it, when I was really expecting just basically Jason Blood and Etrigan, maybe with a couple of side characters. But it's actually getting to be a really big cast, and unfortunately the spotlight isn't really on any of these side characters long enough for you to care about them. I do like the fact that Shining Knight and Vandal Savage are in it. They play kind of interesting parts, and I know who those guys are. Etrigan and Vandal Savage have some good humor moments, but all these other guys, I don't know who they are, I don't know why they're talking, and it just seems weird because there's no reason for these characters to come together except they're all in this one place at the same time. But even then, they don't really interact with each other. They're just kind of all there, sort of together, but sort of doing their own thing, and it's just kind of weird. They're definitely going for a Magnificent Seven or Seven Samurai motif for this story, but unfortunately, it's not anywhere near that level. And I probably will get issue number 3. I really want to like Demon Knights. Etrigan and Vandal Savage in particular have some really good moments, but it's just not there yet. I'm not confident yet whether this is going to be a good book or not. Next up is Mr. Terrific number 2, and I was a little disappointed in this one. This was my pick of the week last week. I really enjoyed issue number 1, and I didn't feel like this one was firing on all cylinders. It's kind of in the nature of comics to end on a big cliffhanger or a big reveal, but I don't like when they spend the entire next issue, or maybe half the next issue in this case, looking back and addressing that. I kind of wanted the story to just move forward rather than trying to wrap up the previous issue and then move on to the next story point. It's just kind of a weird way to break things up. And that's what really bothered me about this issue. Having said that, they are still establishing how the characters, Michael's secondary characters, are interacting with each other and with him, which is kind of cool. And they do plant some seeds that are going to pay off later in the arc, which are a lot more mysterious and I think will turn out better than those in Grifter. Grifter's pretty generic, I hate to say it. But Mr. Terrific has some kind of cosmic science. You're just not sure where it's going to go, and I like that. Also, the antagonist is revealed in this issue, and he's pretty cool looking. It's a new villain for the DCU. So I'm still looking forward to where Mr. Terrific is going. This wasn't the best issue, but it's still only issue number 2. I'm definitely going to buy issue number 3. So last up is Suicide Squad number 2. And let me just reiterate that Suicide Squad, not for the faint of heart. This is definitely the more adult-themed title of all the ones that I've been reading. And probably the best one that came out this week, but still has its problems. So I'll start out with the good stuff. I really did expect this issue to be pretty bad. The teaser from issue number 1 is Amanda Waller sending the team to the sports stadium to, I guess, take everybody out. And that's pretty out there, but it turned out to be a pretty good story. Kind of dark and weird, but good. My main issue with this comic has to do with Harley Quinn. One of my favorite kind of weird secondary characters, I guess. She obviously started out with Batman the Animated Series, and she's just kind of a fun character. I'm not sure if the writer just doesn't have Harley's voice yet, or if they're trying to do something different with the character. But there are some beats where she seems to be her normal self, and some beats where she's just kind of there in the background saying what a normal, non-psychotic character would say. And it's just kind of odd. And weirdly, the artists have the same problem. In some panels, she looks fairly normal for the new Harley. And in some panels, she just really looks off-model. That put me off. and there's also the constant boob and butt shots of her. I said in the last issue that I don't really have a problem with her costume being so, I guess, revealing. It makes sense to me for a psycho villain to have a revealing costume. But at the same time, they keep showing shots of her about to fall out of her corset, and there's one just straight up, here's Harley's butt shot for no apparent reason. So that's really hurting DC in the whole, we respect women category. Just to have a panel where it's like, here's Harley's butt, it's pretty bad. But like I said, there are some good points about Suicide Squad. They mentioned Checkmate in this issue, and I'm wondering if this is going to have some sort of crossover with other titles. I know Checkmate is mentioned in OMAC, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And I'll definitely be picking up issue number 3. Beyond that, I'm not sure yet, but it was only slightly the best title of this week. So I hope you enjoyed this review. If you do, please feel free to subscribe to my channel. I do appreciate you guys who have already subscribed, and I'll see you guys next time.